Today is June 12th, 2026. On June 10th, 2026, I was in Alliance. Okay. I told you I was in Bob Evans. This couple and then this other couple joined them. They were sitting by the window and they were talking. I was waiting for them to say something. They did. They said these people thought if they taped her saying everything that they wanted, they could take it and enter it in court without her and find her guilty. They had admitted they drugged her when they talked to her. She uploaded the law that if you drug somebody and you talk to them, it's pharmaceutical torture. Then those people laughed. They had drugged her and told her to say it before. Everybody realized how not funny this is. Okay. Well, we go home and we stop at Sheetz gas station on Whipple Avenue in North Canton. Carl goes to pump the gas. Well, I had to go to the bathroom. Well, I come out and I'm looking around. There's men in there. A tall, thin, white man with black hair comes in. He walks up to him. Those men tell him, "No, this is funny. You have us watch her. They say that she's fat and ugly. She's not. She's got a little bit of weight on her, but she's not ugly. And who would care?" Now that man, this is how not funny it is. He said, "I'm allowed to watch her." No, it's not. Don't tell anybody I heard you too. He said, she filed for Social Security disability years ago for her legs. Okay. He said, and a psychologist called over to Social Security disability and called her a faker and stopped it from her getting it. He said, "I am to clear that she's able to work in an office when they steal everything from her and leave her with nothing." He said, I was allowed to watch her because she was reported she was weird with herself, the shower scene in the other room. He's part of the big extortion group Trump's after, stealing and victimizing people and running scams on them, scamming those men into helping. That's weird. Okay. When I was born, my feet were crooked. Oh, they weren't crooked, but they leaned in like pigeon toed. And they were real bad. They would even lay like to the side. It was so bad that I would wear the inside of my shoes off. And my dad would take my shoes to a shoe cobbler and put plastic tabs on the inside of my shoes. He said it was cheaper than buying me new shoes all the time because it'd wear off on the inside. Because my legs and feet sat crooked. At one point, I had 6 tabs on my shoes trying to push my feet back up, where the whole insides were more off. My legs have always sat crooked. My mom and dad were part of a severe religious group. They didn't get you a lot of medical treatment. Okay, I should have been going to orthopedic doctors to get my legs straightened when I was a child, but they didn't. Now, when I went through all that medical malpractice and medication errors, my whole body swelled up. And I had seizures, heart attack, thyroid, adrenal shutdown. I have degenerative joint disease in my knees. Okay. And with that massive swelling, I went to orthopedic surgeons. They would pull out turkey baster of fluid out from underneath my knee, then put steroids in. They're the ones that ordered the 3-pound braces on my legs and the canes. They didn't even think I'd ever learn to walk again without braces. And other doctors, they had suggested for me to sign up for Social Security disability for my legs. And I did at one point. I got an attorney, and they said, it's a slam dunk. You're going to get it. You'll get a big settlement and all this other stuff. He said, with MRIs showing the degenerative joint disease, the muscles are tearing when you're falling, and the foot feel cyst and all that. You will get it for your legs because they don't even think you can walk without braces. When the doctors told me that the medication was causing the massive body swelling, the heart attack, seizures, and everything else, and it was medical malpractice and fraud and medication errors, I told that attorney to hold off. I wanted to see how far I would get well. And he was mad. He said, it's a guarantee. You're going to get it. And I said, I want to hold off. I want to see how well I get. I don't want to sign up for something and then not need it. Okay? So I'm the one that canceled it. And over 9 months of falling on my ass and my face and crawling over to the couch, getting up with tears, trying again and again and again, I learned to slowly walk as the swelling went down. I'll write on Google if you have swelling on your legs and you have degenerative joint disease. And it makes it almost impossible to walk. But it is not, how do they put it? It is very difficult to learn to walk again, but achievable. Okay. It was very hard. I still walk a little crooked. Even my house manager said, I mentioned having degenerative joint disease. He said, well, I noticed your legs are crooked. When you walk, they turn in. My one neighbor, Jim, said, do you know you walk with a slight limp? I watched you walk. Now, what is a jail sentence for an FBI agent? They allow a doctor to watch you without your knowledge or consent, 5 to 20 years. They can't allow somebody to watch you. It says underneath, the eyes of the law, no one can take your rights away. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements in a court order. Where that guy said I was allowed to watch her because she was reported she was weird with herself, the shower scene in the other room. He's part of the big extortion group. But he admitted to stalking me and hiring men to stalk me. And he was telling people he was going to steal everything I had and leave me with nothing. He's part of the extortion group they're after, conning people into helping out. And he was lying to them. What is a jail sentence for another doctor to call Social Security disability and try to interfere with someone trying to get benefits? 10 to 20 years. Another doctor could never interfere. That's how much they were lying. Get the idea. They're all lying. It's the big extortion group, Trump, President Trump and President Vance, and the FBI is going after. One of the people running scams on people was in Sheetz gas station on June 10th, 2026 on Whipple Avenue. Get the idea. And he's lying to everyone. No one could let anybody in my home before. Dave told Danny he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. Was Pete and his men in our home before. Dave did this. They didn't have permission. Nobody ever reported the tape weird with yourself. Nobody knew I was being stalked by drug dealers. They didn't know I was being raped under drugs by drug dealers and drugged up and told to say stuff. They knew I had bruises, throwing up, and almost passing out. But like Jen said, I didn't know somebody was hurting you. And we didn't know people were stalking you. Nobody knew. And they didn't know about no shower scene in the other room to make me look weird, photoshopped by drug dealers who drugged and told to say horrible stuff. Like Jen said, I thought you were working too hard and bruising too easy. I didn't think of someone hurting you. Well, one of the extortionists was in that gas station lying to men hiring people to stalk me. My doctor at my community health, behind the door on May 8th, 26th, was admitting to some guy behind there that was telling them that he was trying to steal all my money. That he was out even helping watch me. I didn't give him consent to watch me. The dirty freak can't stalk me, can't be hired to, can't get special permission. No agent could hire him. Nobody could. He needs to go to jail. If he's not working with the police and FBI to get these people to confess, he needs to go to jail. My phone is tapped from the FBI case. They have a confession. And they need to take care of this. Today, and Bob Evans. I told you Carl had a bad day after we talked about his son worked to somebody on the phone. And we had more talks about he's lived through a lot with his late ex-wife, kids beating him and assaulting him. And then with his son turning on him and threatening to kill him and terrorizing him. And I told him, I said, you've lived through horror. I said, but I've lived through worse horror. And there's a point in time, it's too much to deal with. And the only thing you can do is literally imagine taking it and setting it on the table and say, I can't deal with it. No, it's there, it happened, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you can't fix it. And you have to learn to live around it. It's there. But you can't let it consume you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I said that's one thing when you live through horror. Sometimes when you let too much of it out, you get lost in the horror. And you gotta realize there's just sometimes you have to set it off to the side and learn to live and be happy with the life you have. He tells me I'm his angel. I saved him. I told him we have a really unique kind of marriage. We started off as friends first, and we are still friends now. And it just grew into love. We have a sweet love. I'm gonna upload this.